Om Shri Sai Ram. We'll begin today's session with 3 Omkars.
A loving Sai Rams and a hearty welcome to the entire Sai family. Offering my humble and prayerful salutations to our beloved Bhagwan on this very, very blessed evening of Sunday. I would call it a blessed evening more than the Sunday. We are actually in the midst of a very, very blessed weekend where yesterday we celebrated Onam in South India. And today, entire North India and the western region of India is celebrating Raksha Bandhan. So a very, very auspicious 2 days that we are in the midst of. And to top it all, in 1986, Bhagwan inaugurated the management program, MBA program as it is known as, on 21st August. So that was yesterday. And being a weekend, we continue the celebration today. MBA, why so much is spoken about? Because Swami always looked at his students as leaders. So while the world celebrates MBA as management program, Swami used to always look up to as MBA as leadership program for his students to go out and reach out to the world and share his divine message. So on such a triple delight that we are all in midst, we are highly blessed by Bhagwan for kindly consenting us to have Dr. R. Kumar Bhaskar, one of the first faculty members, one of the first lecturers for the management program, which Bhagwan started in 1986. So let me get this rare privilege of introducing him. Professor Dr. Racherla Kumar Bhaskar is one of the first professors to be handpicked by our beloved Bhagwan as his professor for MBA program way back in 1985. Since then, he has been teaching Swami's MBA boys till date. In fact, on his official retirement in 2010, Swami extended his tenure for teaching as an honorary professor, thereby giving an opportunity to many more batches of students to get the benefit of his engrossing lectures based on his rich experience and expertise. To give a bit of his family background, Sir belongs to a very spiritually oriented family and was blessed to have first darshan of Swami in 1979 at Prashanthi Nilayam. Prior to this, he was a frequent visitor to Shivam, which is Bhagwan's abode in Hyderabad. Some of you who would have visited Hyderabad, would have got chance to visit Shivam. Shivam is a building which is shaped in a Shivalinga, where Bhagwan used to stay whenever he used to visit Hyderabad. Besides this, Sir's both son and daughter were Swami students at Prashanthi Nilayam and Anandpur campuses respectively. So truly a very, very blessed family. On his professional front, Professor Kumar Bhaskar is a professor in behavioral sciences and human resources at Bhagwan's University. He has about 35 plus years of teaching, training, and research experience in areas such as general management, value-based management, and human resource development. He has various degrees to his credit, namely Masters in Arts in Sociology, Masters in Commerce, and PhD in General Management from Andhra University. He has written many articles and papers which are published in recognized national level journals, besides being a guide to many research scholars under his leadership. In addition to this, Sir has anchored 2 books, namely Man Management, a value-based management perspective, which a lot of us would have actually got our hands to. Instantly, it is a compilation of Swami's discourses delivered to his MBA students over several years. Another book which Sir authored under his pen name, that is Guru Dutt as his pen name, is a book titled Life with Teacher of Teachers, where he narrates his personal experiences with our beloved Bhagwan. Sir was also selected to design and conduct as course director of Regional Resource Center sponsored by Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India on 3 back-to-back occasions, which comprised of 6-day orientation programs in value education for in-service school teachers from all over India. So we have amidst us a very, very a blessed, highly experienced faculty member. We call it faculty member because he was our teacher. He continues to teach Bhagwan's MBA students. And today the entire Sai family has got the opportunity to listen to him. And we pray to Swami and request sir to take us back to those golden days when how it all happened in the year 1984, 85, 86, 87, the entire conceptualization of Swami's leadership program and the experience around it. And even beyond, some great lessons that Bhagwan, that sir got chance to learn under Bhagwan's lotus feet. Over to you, sir. Sai Ram.
Offering our humble pranams at the lotus feet of Bhagwan. Sai Ram to all of you. In fact, I would like to, first of all, state in the beginning that I'm not going to give anything like Sermon on the Mount. I'm not going to preach anything to you because we are all Sai family members. For the next 60 to 70 minutes or so, I'm only going to share my experiences with you. It does not mean in any way that I am at a higher pedestal and I am passing on wisdom to you. I will be only sharing my experience with you because it is satsang. And this too, actually, I am venturing. At one point of time, Bhagavan used to discourage people to speak. Bhagavan used to say, practice before you preach, walk the talk. But then, around 2002-3, when Bhagavan started withdrawing from people, Bhagavan actually, in one discourse in Sai Kulwant Hall, said, see, hereafter, I am not going to give discourses the way I have been giving. And hereafter, my students and the teachers working in my educational institutions should go out and spread my message. You should not wait that, I will practice and then talk. It will take long time. So first, start spreading my message without thinking about this. That means Swami gave concession. It does not mean that we are not practicing. We are practicing to the extent, possible for human beings. So actually, today, I'm going to share my experiences with you on the topic, living with God is true education. Swami Vivekananda used to say, we all know, education is the manifestation of perfection already there in man. That is why Bhagavan always used to say, Adhyatma Vidya Vidyanam. True education means Adhyatma Vidya Vidyanam. Adhyatma Vidya alone is true education. That is why, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to say, I don't want that education which enables me to pack banana with rice. That's what Swami used to say, Puttu Kootu Vidyalu, meaning only breadwinning education. Then actually that means spirituality is true education. That is why higher learning. Higher learning, even psychology, according to Abraham Maslow, higher order needs. And after the prism gets inverted, that higher learning actually will become higher order needs. That's what even modern psychologists have accepted. Then living with God actually is true education. Living with God is true education. Swami on one occasion said, spirituality means what? Reducing animal tendencies and increasing human qualities steadily, eventually leading to transcendental nature. This is what Swami said. You know, here Swami always used to repeat, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastine Sulis Swaiva Swapakecha Pandisa Samadarshinaha. That means Swami used to always summarize the qualities of both the students and the teachers. You know, I had one experience, first of all. Regarding students, Swami always used to say, what kind of students should be there in my institution? Swami used to explain, it seems in one particular Gurukula, there was a guru, and you know, on one particular evening, he asked the students assembled before him, how is the curry today? And it seems the students actually, as usual, naturally, because the teacher asked a question, there was absolute silence. Whenever teachers want students to maintain silence in the class, if we ask questions, then there will be silence. Then actually there was absolute silence. Then the teacher persuaded, come on, give me response. One particular student, he pointed and said, what do you think? He said, sir, because you are persuading me, let me tell you that in today's curry, salt was not adequate. Then the teacher said, oh, very good. Pack up your luggage and go home. Then he said, what is this, sir? You only persuaded me. And when I gave you feedback, is this the punishment for feedback? See, this is what Swami used to say. It seems the students in his Gurukula, in his Institute of Higher Learning, or education institutions, should be actually transcend the palate. And that is how Swami created actually his education institutions. You know, one particular quality, there are many qualities. Similarly, say for example, regarding teachers, you know, one day in 1986 or so, you know, when I was actually teaching in one of the classrooms, then actually MCOM. Then I was teaching one course, I will tell you. Then Swami actually came into my classroom, suddenly entered the classroom. Of course, not to sit in my class and listen to my lecture. But then Swami came into my classroom actually to inspect the new workshop that our institute created there. Then Swami, when I was teaching the class, Swami said, no, don't stop the class, don't disturb the class. Swami sat in the first row along with students. Swami asked me, what subject are you teaching? I said, Swami, I am teaching human resource management. Then Swami asked me, what is human resource management? Of course, I explained in my own way Edwin B. Flippo's definition of human resource management. Fortunately, it came to my memory and I was able to reproduce that. Then Swami said, very good, very good. Then Swami put me on the last top branch of the drumstick tree. Then, you know, Swami asked me, what is human resource, human resources? With great difficulty, I answered that. Then Swami asked me, what is human? My throat became dry. I didn't know what to say. Then Swami explained human means what? Manava, stimulus response relationship, and how actually ordinary human beings will respond to stimuli in the environment. Behavior is a function of individual and environment. Swami explained all that. Then Swami was saying, before I entered the class, you all boys were laughing. What happened? Then they said, sir cracks lots of jokes, that is why. Then Swami told me, a teacher is not expected to crack jokes to make the students laugh. Then Swami told me about teaching, how a teacher should be. It seems a teacher is not expected to laugh violently, touching the, mouth from ear to ear. Swami said, a teacher should not even show his teeth, exhibit his teeth, should not make noise, should not get tears from the eyes. If he cracks jokes and he himself laughs, see, then Swami told us, the teachers in, following interviews, then Swami gave us all actually interview in the mandir. Then Swami told us, see, how a teacher should prepare? For 1 hour, minimum 3 hours of homework he should put in. Minimum 3 hours. Suppose for some reason he is not able to do that homework, that day he should not go and waste the time of the students. He should apply for leave. Okay. Then Swami actually explained to us that what is teaching? Teaching is not lecturing. That is why Swami used to ask, what are you teaching? Suppose I say human resource man. No, you are shaping my property. You are shaping my students. That is the responsibility of the teachers actually in Bhagavan's institutions. Then actually we realized the responsibility of teachers here. And then actually subsequently, what happened was, many people have perceptions, their own perceptions about life, their own perceptions about various aspects of, our life. Some people, some faculty members, some teachers thought that naturally, they think before entering, students think, all students every day will get interviews, every day will be taken to Ooty, Kodaikanal, and then so many places, and, imaginations will be there. Lot of fantasy will be there. After joining only, people will know actually what is actually tough life here. So, some teachers who thought that they will be having lot of free time to lead life like Ramana Maharshi or Aurobindo or things like that, meditation under trees in forest like that, they did not get the chance because Swami creates very tight schedule for all of us. And then, those people, because their aspirations were not satisfied, they wanted to resign. They wanted to submit resignation. And they sat in the front and they submitted resignation. Actually, they submitted resignation those days. People used to give the resignation letter first to Bhagavan. They gave letter to Bhagavan. Then Bhagavan asked, what is this? Then, they went very close because they didn't want others to listen to them. They very undertones, they told Swami, this is what it is. Then Swami said, okay. Swami took the letters, unchu, keep it. Then after that, Swami gave all the faculty members an interview. I think Swami wanted to give clarification to larger group. Swami gave actually interview to all the faculty members. And in that faculty interview, Swami was saying, What do you think is spirituality? You know, you feel spirituality means here there is no spirituality. You don't have time for spirituality. What do you think of spirituality? Swami said, sitting in one corner like a statue and not doing anything is spirituality. Akarma is not spirituality. And then Swami said, I created this institution. I gave my students to you. And your responsibility is to shape them. And you know, Swami said, your responsibility is to shape them. Here, your life is spirituality. Your job is spirituality in daily life. And you know, one thing, in this particular institution, facilities will not be there. Amenities will not be there. For that matter, Siddharth, all these boys know. We used to take classes for some of the students in the staircase room. Rooms were not there. Overhead projectors were not there. Many things were not there. And Swami used to say, for real learning, that is why, you know, living with God is true education. Swami used to say, for real learning, not these facilities, not these amenities, but highly motivated, disciplined, dedicated, sincere teachers and students are required. And these students and teachers should not complain, crib about lack of facilities, but without anything, they should do everything. Swami used to say, see this hand, what is there in this hand? Empty, but there is everything. Nothing is everything. And then similarly, you people also should not talk about this is not there, that is not there, but then actually you should sacrifice your life for my mission. And that is why I gave my job. You do your job without complaints, without cribbing, without grievances. And that is spirituality. That don't think spirituality is sitting in one corner. Go back and do your job, Swami said. That's it. So actually that is why here living with God is true education. Now, let me actually tell you one thing. Swami, not that Swami did not know the problems of people. Let me tell you, Swami himself told to all of us in one faculty interview that here, to work here is not easy. Swami was saying actually in Rayalaseema Telugu, ikkada pancheyadam bejaruga untundi. You know, Rayalaseema slang Telugu. Swami was saying, ikkada pancheyadam bejaruga untundi. Kada, meaning here, working here is like always on tenterhooks. Never you will have peace of mind. That is why Swami said, some of the people want to come and serve in my institution. Some of the people have been trying to join this institution right from the time it became university in 1982. But then I did not allow them. Some people who want to come, I won't allow them because I know it is not easy for them to work. And then those who come, even if they want to go, I will not leave them. And that is how I am also here. Swami did not actually permit us to go. And Swami, this is of course a privilege given by Bhagavan to all of us, you know, and maybe I too must have been a squirrel during Rama's time, and now I became a human being, and I am serving Bhagavan's institution, taking care of his property. Then, you know, first of all, let me tell you, what are the qualities of students and teachers? Here we should understand what are the qualities. The two qualities are love my uncertainty. And for the last 36 years, I have been experiencing uncertainty. Swami did not say, accept my uncertainty. Like, say for example, some of the management authors said, thriving on chaos, not thriving amidst chaos, thriving on chaos. Chaos is an opportunity. Here, in Swami's institution, uncertainty is also an opportunity. That is why actually love my uncertainty, not accept my uncertainty, adjust with my uncertainty. Swami used to say, love. See, that means students as well as teachers should love uncertainty. Second thing is sacrifice and surrender. Many things will happen here. And we cannot try to explain them. We should not try to explain them. We cannot find explanations. That is why Swami used to say, don't try to explain, enjoy, surrender. Don't try to explain, meaning we all know, having little bit of knowledge about psychology, left brain and right brain. Spirituality can never find answers through left brain approach. It's impossible. That is why, one thing, right brain to some extent, definitely will provide at least clues, if not answers. So here, let me take you actually through this particular, experience. It seems, one in one particular place, it seems one guru was there, and that guru, this is a very popular story we all know, but for the message purpose, that guru got actually some skin disease. And when he got the skin disease, it seems he said that, now I am retiring, I am going away from the society, and I will go and settle down in one particular place, and all of you can go to any place you like. He was closing down actually his Gurukula. Then, one particular student, it seems, said, no, I will come with you. He said, no, it's very difficult. So I'm giving you option. You please go. He said, no, I will come with you. He went with him. And as he said, actually, he started, suffering from that particular skin disease. The whole body full of terrible smell and things like that. It seems he used to trouble the person like anything, that boy like anything. Then it seems after some time, he went on serving. First Brahma came, and it seems he offered, don't worry, because I am the creator, I will do everything, I will help you. And it seems the student said, no, I don't want any interference. You go back. Then Shiva came. Shiva also offered, it seems. Don't worry, I will cure his disease. And then it seems this boy said, no, my teacher doesn't want any super normal intervention. He wants to go through the karma. Then he also went back. Then actually Vishnu came. And Vishnu also offered. Then this boy said, no, I don't want that. I don't want any, again, help from anybody. Then it seems, my God, I have not come across a boy like this, student like this. And I am so much motivated that the student, his name was Deepak, it seems. And he said, again, this kind of student, when he becomes a teacher, I would like to become his student. It seems that Deepak became Sandipan and Vishnu became Krishna. And that means see the sacredness of relationship between students and teachers in this great land called Bharat. Whereas today, you know, Taliban is also Vidyardhi, it seems. Taliban is Vidyardhi. See, this is where Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastane Surichaiva Sapakecha Pandisa Samadarshanaha. Actually, that is why Adhyatma Vidya Vidyanam. And then actually how Swami trained all of us. Say, for example, in the beginning years when I joined this institution, I was shocked. Actually speaking, I was shocked. I was so much shocked that, when I thought that, I used to see in other universities and other places, big quarters and big facilities. I thought I would also be given something like that. Then, I was taken to West 5 and shown one room. And the incentive is, even the kitchen is not there. Kitchen is also locked. I asked them, sir, where I should cook? They said, cook here. Where I should sleep here. Everything only in one room. Fortunately, bathroom was there. Then I was shocked. Then I went to the institute. And there I thought, like all universities, big faculty room will be there, attached bathroom, Godrej, bureau, and revolving chair, and all facilities, and a fan above head, and everything like that. Then I went to the campus, nothing was there. They showed me a large hall, 2 large tables were there, and 30 chairs were placed. They said, this is our faculty room. I said, I should sit with 30 students, 30 teachers, and prepare for 3 courses, each semester. They said, yes. Then, really life started with real big jolt. Then, that year, 1986 March, actually, Swami called all of us for in those days, we used to have faculty interviews once in the beginning of the semester, once at the end of the semester. Then we were all called to the foyer. And in the foyer, Swami was asking, see, so how Swami trained all teachers and students. Swami was asking all the people, see, what all you need, you ask me, I will give you. Then, Swami was smiling. The teachers around were also smiling. The students were smiling. I was new. I was not able to smile because, what is this? Why they are smiling? When Swami is saying, what facilities you want, why can't they say there is nothing, there is no classroom also? Can't they tell Swami? Then Swami was saying, no, don't hesitate, don't worry. I'm there. I will give you anything you want. You ask me, I will give you. Then all these people are smiling. I was thinking, why these crazy fellows are smiling? What is there to smile? Can't they tell? Then after some time, I was just sitting next to Bhagwan. Swami looked at me, ask for anything other than table, chair, virva, fan. My God, then what is there? What else is there? There is nothing. This is how actually Swami actually created sacrifice. That is why sacrifice. Teachers as well as students have to sacrifice a lot. And then, when actually I was complaining like this, about within myself, one evening after darshan, I saw, see how Swami opened my eyes, and that is how actually initially I thought that I will be here only for a few weeks or months, I will go back. But Swami changed me. That's why Swami said, some people whom I want to be here, I will not leave them. How Swami changed my frame of mind, my lenses. See, one day after darshan, I was returning to West 5. When I was returning, actually lots of cross currents in my mind. One school teacher was walking along with me back. He asked me, "Sir, how are you? How is life? And how are facilities?" Then I was about to say, "What facilities? What is there? What can we call as facility?" Then he said, I asked him, "Where are you living?" He said, "Come with me." I thought he would show me some palace, somewhere inside. Then he asked me, "Come with me." He took me, and then he took me to a big shed. In the shed, he showed me actually, compartments were created with the bed sheets. And he was saying, for the last 8 years or so, I have been living with my family here in this place. Then I thought that all this time I am sacrificing a lot, but there are people who are sacrificing more, for making more actually sacrifices, bigger sacrifices. Then I became humble. I became extremely humble. Then I thought that means we have a role to play. Then Swami looked at me the next day and said, "You got the message?" I got the message. See, this is how actually living with God is through education. Here, daily life with Swami is spirituality. Say, for example, in 1986, yesterday, 21st August, actually our MBA formation day. 1986, I was teaching third BCom students. And third BCom students at that time were asking me one question, "Sir, one thing, here MCom is there, but MCom is losing the glamour. We don't want to do MCom, but we want to do MBA. But we are hearing, some reports that in this institution, our university is going to start an MBA program. Is it right? Is it correct?" And though we were also aware of the fact that Swami was making preparations, you all know, Swami will tell people, "Don't mention about this anywhere. Be careful." Swami will tell us, "Don't talk about this outside." So when students used to ask this question, we cannot say, "Yes, I am also there. Yes, suppose what? We will be kicked out." So I used to tell them, you pray to Bhagwan. You pray to Bhagwan. You appeal to Bhagwan, then Swami will answer your prayers. And they all used to write letters to Bhagwan and, naturally expressing desire, their wish, etc. Then, actually it was already February, March. If we have to start an MBA program in June, along with the rest of the institute, it is impossible. I was thinking, Swami is making trials and also saying next year onwards we will have MBA program. But I was thinking, because I was new, and I was thinking, Swami, I think formality purpose he is saying this, but I think it will not, maybe 87 it will start. Then actually Swami constituted a committee, and that committee used to have members like Dharni Sinha and Krishna Swami from IISc Bangalore. And I was also part of that particular committee. And then, actually we all formulated course structure. And then we did so many things. And then actually I was thinking, because based on my knowledge in other universities, if we have to start a new program, launch a new program, the preparation should start at least 1 year in advance, minimum 1 year in advance. Swami is doing this in February, and the Swami is saying next year we are going to start an MBA program. How is this possible? Already for the rest of the institute, applications are coming. Here nothing is there. Then, everything started. This is where I always feel like Christ. When Christ said, let there be light, light appeared. Bhagavan said, let there be MBA program appeared, came into existence. For Swami, it's not a big thing because after all, when nothing was there, Swami could start a university. Cannot start one department, Swami started one department. Then, see, one small thing, small example I will give you. Then, see how Swami used to show his omniscience. Actually, there was one particular course called Organizational Behavior in Indian Perspective. I gave a title like this. I thought that, by God, I gave a very professional title, very, very interesting title, very impressive title. The whole world will be attracted by this. I thought like that. Similarly, I also gave one more course called Social Structure with respect to business. Then, Swami said, what is this? What is social structure? No. This course is called Indian Ethos and Values. Swami gave the course title himself. Swami said, this is Indian Ethos and Values and Organizational Behavior in Indian Perspective. Swami said, this is self-awareness and personality growth. Okay, fine. Then, 19th August program already, date was fixed that 21st August program was going to be inaugurated by Bhagavan. 19th, love my uncertainty. I'm just giving one more example. 19th August, darshan was over. Then I came out very peacefully, thinking that life is very peaceful here. And I think now hereafter I will also lead peaceful life. I will be able to breathe normally, like that I thought. I was standing near the East Prasanthi. Then two people came. Two people, first dean of the MBA department called R.K. Saigal, Rajkumar Saigal, and another professor, Professor Nanjundaya, controller of examinations. These two people came to me. They asked me, how are you? I said, fine, sir. So far, actually, so far, fine. Then they also asked me, what courses are you teaching? I'm already teaching 3.25 courses. Then they said, one course is there in, first of all, MBA program is going to be inaugurated day after tomorrow. I said, yes, sir. Like general knowledge, I thought, yes, sir. Then they said, there is one course called Indian Ethos and Values. I said, I said. Then he said, you are going to teach that course. Huh? I'm going to teach that course. What is that course, first of all? I don't know. Then I asked them, sir, I'm already teaching 3.25 courses. Can I teach one more course? They said, what, 3.25 courses only? No. Yeah, no, don't worry. You will teach. I said, sir, show me the syllabus. They showed me 2 lines. 2 lines. I should teach for 4 or 5 months. And I said, sir, what are the reference books? They took me to the library, showed me 6 racks. You can read. How can I read 6 racks of books? And then that too, day after tomorrow. Then, first of all, the program was inaugurated on 21st August. Bhagavan gave this course and Bhagavan said, management is man management. I have not started this particular MBA program only to create some more, people like what we have in other universities. This is going to be a very unique program. Then actually, the backbone of this particular course is Indian ethos and values. I said, my God, something is happening. And then Swami also said, this is my course. This is my course. And Professor Saraf, the second vice chancellor of the institution, was just sitting opposite him. Then he said, Saraf, give me also classes on the timetable. I will come and teach the course. My God. Then Swami did not stop there. I was sitting opposite to him. I think Swami was informed already that I was also going to teach the course. I was sitting just opposite to him in the front row, I think like a fool. Then Swami showed me with his finger, index finger, and said, at the physical level, this man will be teaching the course along with me. And the entire audience in the auditorium, their attention turned towards me. Who is this fellow? They saw me. Ah, my God. Then 1,000 horses started galloping in my heart. My God. All people started making comparison. This fellow will teach a course with Bhagavan. Then, the program was over. Very first class started at 11 o'clock. 11 to 1, the very first class I had to teach Indian ethos and values. But Swami did not leave me. This is what actually, love my uncertainty. Swami did not leave me. Swami said, I will come and teach the classes. And Swami really did that. And that is how actually this man management, about which also I will talk to you a little later. Discourses of Bhagavan and values-based management came into existence. At that particular juncture, Swami, see how Swami trained. I was already an associate professor. I already worked for 10 years before joining here in another university. But then Swami did not take chances at all. Swami used to send experts to sit in my class. I used to think they are coming for fun. So many people used to come. So many people used to come. And Swami used to take feedback from them. How this fellow is teaching. Professor V.K. Narasimhan will come. S.K. Chakrabarti from IIM Calcutta will come and sit in my class. I did not want to teach this course. I did not volunteer to teach this course. Then all these experts will come. I didn't know. Then one day, one expert came. I didn't know this, that they were all actually made to sit in my class to give me feedback. One teacher told me, one big expert in the country, he came after the class, he was saying, see, your vice chancellor and others want me to give feedback to you. What feedback I can give you? I'm very happy with your teaching. I would like to sit in your class if you give permission. Then I realized that they were all actually sitting to actually give me feedback and train me. They actually, this is how Swami will never take chance, whoever it may be. He may be a professor, he may be an associate professor, or he may be an assistant professor, or he may be anybody. That is why I love my uncertainty. Then actually, one more thing that I would like to tell you. In 1988, and actually, the program was started, and then we had to take students to the, factory visits. Then, I was again in the morning, I was taking my class of, I think, self-development class only I was taking. Then, the then registrar of the institute, now he's actually our chancellor. He came and he tapped on the door. I opened the door. He said, can I come in? Sir, you are registered. The whole institute is yours, not only this campus. Wherever you want, you can go. Please come in. He came. He said, Bhagavan wants me to make 2-3 announcements. I will make those announcements. And I thought, general announcements. I thought at least 10-15 minutes I will also have rest. And he started talking. And he said, see, like last year, first batch, already Narendra Ramji's batch, already, factory visits concluded, I also accompanied them along with the first batch of students, second batch. In the second batch, they were saying, registrar was saying that already factory visits have been lined up. One faculty member went there. All arrangements are made by somebody. And tomorrow you are going to start at this particular time. And you are going to go from here to Vrindavan in a bus. And one faculty member will accompany you. And these are the expectations of Bhagavan. And he was explaining all that. Today in the evening, you and that faculty member sit in the front and take Bhagavan's blessings. I was also enjoying. Anyway, somebody let him take blessings, let it happen. I was thinking. Then students asked, sir, who is the faculty member that is coming with us? He said coolly, Kumar Bhaskar. Kumar Bhaskar? I was not informed before. Tomorrow I have to go. Kumar Bhaskar? Is it? But I cannot, put that explanation, the exclamation face before the students. So I was putting very dignified face. Then students asked one more question. Sir, who will make the arrangement for bus and everything? Kumar Bhaskar. Kumar Bhaskar? Where? I have classes in the afternoon also. This class is there again. Then he said, no, don't worry. Sit in the front in the evening, take Swami's blessings. And he went out. I had to take the class. I have to make the arrangements for this. I have to sit in the front along with the boys. And then, again, I have to make arrangements for bus and other things. I made all that. Actually, at that time, I did not have even, the bus people said, give advance. I had to give advance. Somehow, I gathered from every place and then, evening, the top of that in the evening, then Swami said, I told Swami, university gave me this responsibility to accompany the students on factory visits, so I am going. I know. Then Swami said, see one thing. Once the students get to the bus here in the hostel, they should not get down anywhere. That is Swami's condition. And the second thing is, they should not make any noise. They should only sing bhajans. And then also, one more thing is, if they want anything like coffee, tea, etc., you should supply them into the bus there. Everything is by responsibility. Then Swami said one thing, not only that, when they go there, they should not enter into unnecessary conversations with anybody. Okay. And then also, they should not go for shopping or any place like that. Go to the factory visit, come back. That's all their responsibility. But the boys were saying, sir, what is this, sir? We are not, sir, 10th class boys, sir. We are all grown-up boys. They have already, many of them already had work experience. Sir, what is this, sir? I said, what is this? You heard Swami, no? And in the next day, don't worry. I have put actually very anxious face. Then Swami said, next day, I will call you for interview. Swami called us all for interview next morning before actually leaving for Vrindavan. Then Swami gave us all a group interview, and in that Swami instantly created visiting cards, something like 50, 60. And then Swami gave to each one of us. Then actually Swami was explaining, see, Lord Krishna was actually telling Arjuna that Arjuna, don't worry, this battle, everything I have already finished. I killed everybody. You have to discharge your responsibility. You are only an instrument. You are only an instrument. That is what Krishna said, Arjuna. Then Swami turns towards me. I was just sitting next to him. Swami turned towards him. You are also like that. And Swami said, See, there is one particular gentleman sitting outside. I need, of course, he told me the name, but I should not reveal the name. He was an army person. He doesn't have brain. That's what Swami was. He doesn't have brain. But then only he discharges the responsibilities, whatever I give him. And then Swami asked me, will you also join my army? Meaning, I also don't have brain. See, Swami said like that. And then actually, the whole thing went on. The story is a very long story. And that's how Swami actually expected people, teachers. And then after the factory visits concluded, when we came back, Swami asked me, how the students behave. Because I cannot complain about his own property. I was saying like that, neutral answer. Then Swami said, no. I think it was going like this. Up and downs were there. Ups and downs were there. But don't worry. They have, yes, everything went on peacefully. That's what Swami said. This is what actually, but then see, one more thing. Actually, because first MBA program started very late, Professor Saigal went and asked Bhagwan, what we want is we have to conduct we have to conduct extra classes. One class in the morning from 7:30 to 9, 0 hour. And one class in the evening, 6 hour, with 7:30 to 9 in the night. Swami said, first of all, no, because I don't want my boys to go out in the night, darkness. See, darkness itself. From the hostel to institute, what darkness is there? But Swami used to have so much of love for the students. Then Swami said, okay, I'll give you permission. But the condition is, the teacher having the class in the night should go to the hostel, ask the students to assemble in the quadrangle, and when all the students collect, first batch we admitted about 33 students. 3 students left and 30 students actually continued the program. And Swami used to say, the teacher should walk from the behind. The students should walk in the front. The teacher should walk from the behind and take them to the class, teach the class. After the class, again ask all the students assemble in the quadrangle in the institute, lead them from behind, take them back to the hostel, make sure that every student enters his room, then only you go back. By the time I went back, it used to be 10 o'clock, 10:15, like that. But that's what Swami expected. Because one thing, Swami always used to say, when I say it is precious property, will you leave it like that? Or will you keep it in a locker in a bag? I keep all my property in a locker. I take care of them. It is 1,000 mothers' love. This is what actually Swami expected all of us. Then actually, then one more very important thing is students simple living at hostel and actually, the facilities, we all know, one thing here, Swami, because, Swami expects his students to sacrifice. We all know, I will not repeat that. All the facilities here, modest facilities. Students will have to share room with 13 students and, share bathroom, everything like that, That means actually, what we have to understand is here that the facilities and amenities provided to students here, we should not look at it from the worldly angle, but it is only in a particular spiritual way. That is why actually sacrifice, and that sacrifice always, is a part and parcel of life. Say, for example, in one particular batch, this goes on continuing. this goes on continuing. In one particular batch, suddenly, something happened. I will not give the details because, these are not actually uh, appropriate on my part to talk about it. Something happened, and the students represented the matter to the student, Bhagavan. Then, Bhagavan, I think, consulted the vice chancellor and the controller of examinations about it. And then, the controller of examinations came to me and asked me, one thing, Bhaskar, something this is very confidential. You should not talk about it anywhere. And you have to do one particular third valuation. Sir, third valuation, generally we all know, third valuation, I think among the audience, Srinivas Rangarajan is also there, who served as controller of examinations. Generally, few papers will be there. And that batch, all 30 students, third valuation was actually given to me. I said, sir, what is this? He said, no, don't ask for more details. Bhagavan wants you to value these papers, third valuation. I said, okay, sir. I said, okay. Then somebody, came to know about this. And then, he actually came and he said, sir, when you value your valuation should become close to my valuation. He was trying to educate me. Then actually what happened was, Bhagavan came to me and told me, see, whatever job is given to you, in an impersonal way, you do your job. In an impersonal way, you do your job. Then I said, okay, sir. Then I did the valuation and all the 30 students passed the examination. Then actually, it became a very big, this thing. But then the next actually batch of students again represented to Bhagavan, saying that Bhagavan, we want this particular subject to be taught by so and so. Then, that subject I never taught before. I don't have any knowledge. I don't have any experience. I don't have any background. Then I said, okay, sure, I will teach that. Then I was actually, somehow I did some preparation. And then because the students also wanted, they cooperated with me. Then that day I went to the class and then I started actually teaching that particular course. Then, one international expert on that particular course, who used to come from American universities, he said, afternoon, 1 o'clock onwards, I had class. And that international expert comes and asks me, Bhaskar, do you have any objection if I come and sit in your class? I am teaching the course for the first time. I myself learning. Honestly speaking, I myself learning. Along with me, students also would be learning. Then, when I was thinking like that, suddenly he said, no, if you have any objection. No, I said, no, sir, what? I cannot say I have objection. He's our colleague. And I said, please come. And he sat in my class. And then actually, towards the end, he also gave me feedback. That's how actually Swami actually, uncertainty, love my uncertainty. And many things happen like this in this particular place. And one last thing before I close the talk, because I think I'll be reaching my deadline. So one thing, actually this towards 2000, till 2000, we used to have awareness courses. We used to have awareness courses only for undergraduate students. And some people and Bhagavan also took the decision that hereafter, this awareness courses should be introduced at the postgraduate level also. Then, I said, okay. I said, we all actually convened meetings. Srinivas Rangarajan also used to be there in that. Then, actually, I had lot of experience in this awareness courses. When we go and teach, somehow we used to get a feeling, and some boys used to tell me, sir, this awareness course, right from the beginning, I have been associated. And some students used to tell me, sir, honestly speaking, sir, these awareness courses, this content, we would like to listen only from Bhagavan, not from ordinary human beings. Then they will tell us on our face. So actually, for 1 hour, we will have spiritual progress in the classroom. Because, students will give us an opportunity, that's all. Then, I wanted to share that experience with Bhagavan. Bhagavan, already they received these inputs at the school, at the undergraduate level, postgraduate level. Once more, will it not become counterproductive? Swami, I think some students also will have, I think, some objection. Then you know what Bhagavan said? Bhagavan said, I have been giving discourses for the last 60 years. I know to what extent people have changed. Then have I stopped giving discourses? Am I not continuing giving discourses? You do your job. Kartavyam daivamahnikam. That's what Swami said. You do your job. That's all. And the outcomes, forget about it. Then, actually, I came across a particular story. It seems in one particular place, there was a great sage come teacher. And the teacher was blessed with a son. And when the son was blessed, already the particular teacher was aware, because he had knowledge of astrology, everything, that this fellow would become a thief in future. Then it seems this teacher thought that I should expose him only to positive things, and I will impart him only positive things. And he exposed him for almost 20 years or so only about positive things, about dharma, purusharthas, ashram vyavastha, everything, Vedas, scriptures, everything. Then at the end of the 25th year, this is what, actually samskaras. Samskaras drive our behavior, because Sukshma Sarira will have the samskaras. And it seems suddenly he felt, what is it this I am doing? Actually, I have an irresistible tendency to do some stealing. What I am learning, I should practice that. And he said, this night I should do that. Without the knowledge of father, he went out with all appropriate equipment, and he went to it seems, the king's place. And then see, this man, that is what is called Vibhuti Yoga. He had those Vibhutis, as Bhagavad Gita says. He was able to identify the places where security labs will be there. And he was able to cross the wall and enter the king's palace. He said, why should I do ordinary things? He straight went to the king's the chamber, and he found the king's crown, gold studded with all diamonds, and he touched it. And then immediately he thought what all his father told. What will happen after death if I do this stealing? Then all that he recollected, all these punishments will come. My God, no. He kept it back. Then he went to the next room. It seems all the silverware in which actually the king will be taking food, all those things were there, and he touched them. Then again he got the same thing. What will happen if I do this? Then he remembered, oh, this punishment will be there. He left it. like that he went to the next room, brass, and like that, finally it seems he went to the room where father was there. Father he touched. When he was touching father, useless thing, then it became day. All people woke up and he was caught, and they questioned him, what were you doing? Who are you? He said, I am so and so. Actually, my father gave me all these studies, all this knowledge. And finally, I wanted to do this. But then when I wanted to do this, I remembered this. I did not do this. But then I was able to identify security lapses and everything. Then it seems the king said, first of all, your teacher, your father should be rewarded, should be felicitated. And for you, my God, see, this is what Swami said. If you provide the right inputs like awareness, everything, at the right time, it will come to the rescue of the people. And that is how actually Swami gave all these inputs, all these facilities, everything to all of us and shaped us in this particular way. I think it's time, 7:45. I will close it here. Then I will leave it open for discussion. I think I have served your purpose. I always feel, it seems one particular person was coming out of ashram after spending 25 years in ashram, and he was leaving the ashram. Then it seems he said, he told the Guruji, sir, 25 years back when I came here, I was a fool. Even now I am a fool. What is the change? It seems the Guru said, when you came here, you did not know you were a fool. Now you know you are a fool. That's the difference. I think I am also like that. After spending 36 years, I know I am a fool. So thank you. My pranams at the Lotus feet for giving me this opportunity and meeting his property and others through this particular platform. Sai Ram.
Loving Sai Ram, sir. It was wonderful to listen to you. Today, it's like revisiting the class days that we used to have in those in the decades that went by. I think some of the very important messages, because this session was very unique, as compared to the other sessions where we have a typical, Swami's experiences, and this is what happened to me, this is how I came to Swami, this is what happened to my family. Whereas I think what you took and all of us on a journey was a very, very different journey, where Swami's facet as a teacher, a guru of gurus, what you came out with very clearly, and two starking messages, were time and again being kind of explained. One is definitely the topic itself, that living with God is true education. And the second aspect is love my uncertainty. I think uncertainty continues today also, and more so for the entire world in the times that we are in. But Bhagavan gives us that message, that love my uncertainty, because end of the day, if we love him, uncertainty is also taken care of. We don't have to worry about uncertainty, because he is the one who is a stable person in the madness that goes around all of us. So two very important messages. If you permit me, actually, I'm reminded of a time when Rama's time, in fact, when Rama was, in Sage Vashishta's ashram for his education. And that is the time, when Rama and Vashishta actually spoke the same thing what Swami taught us, that we need to live in sacrifice. We need to live in a frugal way. We need to simplify our lives, especially at the student life, so that when that uncertain times come, when difficulties come in the future life of students, they are in a position to manage those uncertainties very well. So actually practicing the uncertainty, practicing the frugal way of life, practicing lack of apparent so-called facilities were actually the big learning lessons for all of us. That this is exactly when Rama said to his father, King Dasharatha, that Vashishta actually taught us this, that when time comes, whether we are son of a king or son of any business person or son of an ordinary person, a farmer, all of us were taken as a common common way in the Gurukula system. And so that tomorrow we never know when the roles will change. A son of a king may become have to go to the forest and live a very, very frugal life. And that's why Sage Vashishta was preparing his disciples that way. And exactly that entire scene came alive when the way you explained today, and how Swami methodically taught us that when you live a very simple life with the limited amenities, we are in a position to adjust anywhere in the world. I think there is no better example, no better practical knowledge, as Swami is to say, than actually demonstrating this and making us live that life. And I can tell you one thing, sir, all the students who have gone through this Satyasai education system, which is a divine Gurukula in this Kali age, all of us are highly benefited by this actual practical living of living a frugal life. And call it any city, Swami's boys are able to adjust anywhere in all circumstances. And this is the result because the foundations were set in those years when we were at Bhagwan's lotus feet. And it was a great lesson for all of us, a great reminder for all of us. So heartfelt gratitude to you, sir, for sharing your time and these beautiful perspectives, important perspectives of how Swami taught in practical way to you and to you to all the students that were there under your leadership. So on this occasion, there are a few more questions which have come up. So before we end, if you allow me to take few questions, it will be a good opportunity to know more on this aspect. So one question which comes up is, have Swami told you about the teaching methodology for any teacher? I guess this is coming from another teacher on the call. You can throw a light on this, the teaching methodology taught by Swami.
First teaching methodology is Swami, first of all, told 1 hour of class, 3 hours of preparation. And you should put your heart and soul. And, no drama. You should really do hard work. And Swami always used to say, don't have the ego that you are teaching. Actually, this is what I have experienced myself. Say, for example, when a course like Indian Ethos and Values was given to me, when Bhagavan was teaching the course along with me, Swami used to ask the boys, is he teaching this? Is he teaching this? And of course, Swami in his own divine way will say, of course, he is inexperienced. So I will help you. And Swami naturally, and that is how I got benefited from Bhagavan. But then, one thing is, teachers, apart from ordinary teaching methodology of pedagogy and andragogy, first of all, people should have sincerity, absolute sincerity, and absolute dedication. And remember that we are teaching in Swami's institution. Swami used to tell us, my students are very intelligent. Don't go to the class thinking that they are fools. They will make you fools. So, you first of all prepare for minimum 3 hours. And Swami used to say only this. If for some reason you are not prepared, don't go to the class and beat around the bush and waste my boys' time. Apply for leave. Don't go. And one more thing. See, this is where sincerity. Anyway, many of you are our old students. Many things that used to happen inside. Some teachers, not very few, let me say. Because Bhagavan was always saying, you are all teaching your courses. Where are you teaching my course? My subject, Swami used to say. What is my subject? Discipline, it seems. Then, see, don't consider yourself as a disciplined teacher. Swami used to tell me directly. In a way, I used to get discouraged. What is this Swami saying? I am going. I am going in the morning. My night 10:30 I'm teaching. Swami still says I am not a disciplined teacher. Then who is a disciplined teacher? Swami used to say, see, first of all, what I want is, are you teaching my subject? Okay. Then, some people used to think, go to the class. Swami himself used to say this. Some teachers go to the class, first 15 minutes Omkara, last 15 minutes meditation, and when they will teach, if this is teaching, I can as well do that in ashram only. Why did I create the institute? Jolly well go and teach your courses, your subjects. See, this is what actually, one thing. And one more thing is, Swami, Swami used to, how is this batch? And, because I was immature, I used to think I was giving feedback to Bhagavan. Swami, in this batch, few boys, I don't even complete the sentence. Swami will say, hey! See, you are not good. You don't have stuff. You don't have brain. You are complaining about my students. Okay, that means, see, here it is teacher's responsibility to teach the students. This is what, one thing in this institution, experiential learning, andragogy, some super gogy, the students should they come prepared. Harvard Business School, they do everything. No, Swami, no. What you will do? What will you do? You have to teach. So you have to prepare well. And that is why, one thing, Swami used to send experts. I was actually, my God, I was supervised by so many people for years. So many people used to come and sit in, vice chancellors used to come and sit in my class. Experts used to come and that is why one thing. For any teacher, the most important thing is, I have done it myself. If 1 hour class is there, prepare for 3 hours. Andragogy, pedagogy will fall in the right place. And if you think, through your extra intelligence, you will do some gimmicks, in this institution, it is not possible. Why? Why? Because this is Swami's institution and Swami's boys really, one thing we may not know, Swami's students are really sages. This is what Swami told us. Swami told us, my boys are sages, go and have their darshan. Boys also will be joking, we are sages. But see, this is what we should know. That is why we should not take it for granted. Even today, we should not take, and I have myself experienced, once or twice thinking that I have been teaching for 45 years. Even today, if I take chances, that day I will be fooled. That means I should be humble. That is why, humility, that is what actually, our people said. Bharata talks about ideal student, ideal teacher. My God, how an ideal teacher should be there. That means even the last, for that matter, even today, somehow I feel when I go to the class, I have little anxiety. After 45 years of teaching, when I have to go to the class, I have little anxiety. Today, can I do my job properly? And of course, with his grace, I have been doing the job. That is why I always feel it is his grace, not my credit.
Thank you, sir, for that answer. But just to confirm your question, you are one of the best professors that we had. So definitely all of us enjoyed your classes in the past, and we continue to enjoy even today's session as well. So that's a direct feedback which is coming, as we always see in management, a customer feedback, if I may use the word as a customer, but that is a direct feedback for you. And just to place this on record, on behalf of all the students, in fact, we were privileged to study under some of the best teachers that we can come across. And this relationship between teachers and students continue forever in our life. It's not that we leave the portals from the college and then we forget about our teachers. They live in our hearts, And it has been absolutely, we are highly blessed to have such kind of teachers like you. Also Rangarajan sir, who is also on the call. And in fact, he was your PhD student as well. May I request Rangarajan sir to speak maybe a couple of words, for all of us. It will be delight to see both the teachers and student coming on the same platform.
Sairam, pranams to Professor Kumar Bhaskar sir. Sairam sir.
Sairam.
It's been such a delight listening to you for the last 1 hour. I'll just share 3 points. Point 1, sir has been one of our most inspiring teachers. When way back 1990, when I joined, Professor Kumar Bhaskar sir taught us, I can never forget, as a student, and then later on how he molded me even as a teacher. When I handled, so there were several years I used to sit in his class, and his teaching style, his teaching methodology and all got rubbed on so much on me. And so today, whatever I am, sir, it's because of you. I'm so grateful to you. The second point, we need to be very grateful to Professor Kumar Bhaskar, because the gems of wisdom that Bhagwan gave in the form of several discourses on management, which no avatar has done in the past. Swami spoke on contemporary management. He spoke on topics like total quality management way back in 93, when India just got liberalized and we did not even know what quality means. Excellent book. And today that book is available, and I think it should become a textbook in every business school around the world. It's not easy. It's not easy to take Bhagwan's discourses and make it into a textbook. So we should be eternally grateful to Professor Kumar Bhaskar for giving this to the world. The third gratitude that I wish to express is, as a research student, sir talked about love my uncertainty. It so happened that I was working on my research with Professor Vishwanath Pandit. And I worked for about 1 year. And then at the end of 1 year, the topic was something different. It was more to do with economics. I was finding it very tough. And then Professor became the Vice Chancellor of the university. So suddenly it was decided that I will not be able to continue. And who will now take up my research supervisorship? So the only person I knew who was so close to me was Professor Kumar Bhaskar, and went and approached him, and so kindly he said, "Don't worry, Srinivas." He calls me Srinivas. So he said, "I will take it up." And sir so very kindly took up the supervisorship. And here I would like to share one very interesting incident, which perhaps even sir may not know. Before I started my research, one day in the bhajan hall, Swami told me a couple of times to do research, but when it came close to this, Swami told me, "You should do PhD." Immediately I said, "Yes, Swami, I'll do PhD." And then it just blurted out. I said, "Swami, you should be my guide." And then it occurred to me that what I'm saying is something superfluous. How can I ask Bhagwan to be my physical guide for PhD? So I immediately corrected myself. I said, "Swami, no, from inside, from inside." Swami said, "Inside, outside, all is one." And that day I was sure that the physical guide who will come to me also will be Bhagwan's gift to me, and in fact will be the very personification of Bhagwan. And exactly as Swami told me, Professor Kumar Bhaskar became my physical Swami as a guide. And he took me throughout my journey of my PhD in such a wonderful way. Normally they say PhD is very, very difficult, chala kashtam, but Professor Kumar Bhaskar made it like a bed of roses for me. And I'm eternally grateful to him that eventually I completed my research and got a doctorate degree. So for all these reasons, we all student community are very grateful to you for wonderful people and you again. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Rangarajan sir, for sharing your, the nuggets and the great lessons and the experiences that you had with Kumar Bhaskar sir. In fact, if I may add one line to this, all of us know, as Bhagwan says, or even, at very many occasions, people have said this, that God created mother, where the children can actually feel the presence of God. Mother is like an embodiment or a physical presence of God on earth. I think for the student community, it is teachers. Swami said, I can physically cannot reach, spiritually I can reach everywhere, but physically I have created teachers where you can actually have my darshan in them. So really, really grateful to you, sir, for taking this opportunity, for giving us this wonderful opportunity to listen to wonderful experiences and taking us through those journey and introduce to us, a very different facet of Swami, of as a guru, as a teacher, and teacher of teachers, as the topic of the book goes. So I think we have hit 8 o'clock. Otherwise, we would have enjoyed conversing more and getting more nuggets of wisdom from you. But because of the time, we will have to stop here. Once again, heartfelt gratitude to you, sir, for taking a time out and giving us this chance to listen to you. Heartfelt gratitude to our beloved Bhagwan, who is always with us, guiding us, continues to guide us, and on this wonderful occasion, to think about him and his message. Thank you to everybody, all the listeners, the entire Sai family for joining us today. Loving Sai Rams. Let's end with Samasta Loka. Sai Ram.
Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jai Bolo Bhagwan Shri Satya Sai Baba Ji ki Jai. Sarah.